Hi, I'm Margaret Landin with Neeta Vote ND.
So can you tell us a little bit about your organization?
So what Neeta Vote is it's a nonpartisan organization. It's nationwide, and it goes to various different tribal nations, and they just promote people to get out the vote, right? Get out the Native vote, and encourages them, give them with any information, transportation, anything that they need necessary to get out the vote. So that's what I do, and I've been doing it kind of throughout the state. I've been doing mainly not so much on the groundwork, but calling the different tribes and finding out exactly what are you doing to help remedy the situation with the IDs, so that I can put it on my page and get that information across to everyone. Not only that, it's finding transportation. So all last week I called all the public transit city bus companies or whatever. And I contacted them to find out, what are you doing? Are we going to have free busing service? So a lot of them had to have their committee meetings to get that approved, which everything passed through this week. So if you notice on the Native Vote page, just this past couple days ago, I announced that transportation is free. And then we found out Uber is free, and we found out Lyft is free. So there is no excuse not to get out and vote, besides the ID issue.
And can you explain a little bit more about that and why it is such a difficult issue for Natives to vote?
So, for example, I lived here in Bismarck, and we just currently moved to the reservation back home in MHA Nation. And I opened up a P.O. box because that was the easiest thing to do. Otherwise, I have to go and purchase a mailbox that doesn't go on my house, okay? It would go out on the road, and the road is about a mile out. And in conditions in rural area, especially a lot of our reservations are rural area. So you have to set them out on the road, and then the Postal Service does come through, but we'll put them out there. But you have to dig your own hole, and that sort of thing, get your own post and set it up yourself.
It's not an address on your house.
No, it's not an address on your house at all. In a lot of nations, they literally do not have numbers on their house. Like my house has 0 numbers. Mm-hmm. There's no numbers on my house. There was no need for that.
That's typical reservation life.
Typical reservation life. Nowadays they've developed where they have streets, and they'll have street signs, but really those aren't even registered either. They're not registered through the 911 coordinators, which is so frustrating. But we were advised by the Secretary of State in North Dakota, L. Jagger, to do that. That's what was on the page. So when this first blew up, I had put on our Neeta Vote page, ND, that information is how you're supposed to obtain your physical address. And that post literally blew up. I could not believe how fast it was blowing up. But I did have a lot of people saying, but I don't understand. How hard is it to get a physical address? That should be easy. You just go, how many people have P.O. boxes? You could just go get a physical address. Well, it is pretty difficult in some situations, and there's many different aspects and situations where it can be difficult. Even for myself, I still haven't changed my ID yet. And I still have to get up to our tribal enrollment office. So at our tribal enrollment offices, they're making it where you sign an affidavit, right? And then you sign the affidavit and it gives you your address. There is no guarantee that that's your real physical address. We might even get some people that are coming in and just making up an address. So that's not even given by the tribe or the state. And then when I did try to find out my physical address, I called the 911 coordinator, of course, in McLean County. And when I had called him, his office, he wasn't even there. So for a week in MHA, in that area, there was no coordinator available that week. So that set us back a week, right? And then also in Standing Rock. So I was working with Standing Rock as well and just kind of visiting with them. What are you guys doing? What's going on? And the same thing with them. Their coordinator was out for a week.
So they've deliberately made it so impossible and difficult to get an address on your ID.
What they've done is they've first of all, they gave us only a month. Okay. So I know we're looking at the negatives right here, and we're trying to figure out how can we make it a positive thing. And I think by the positive part of it is just getting our people together again. It's always that time where our Native people, when we see a challenge or someone trying to bring us down, is when we really get unified and we start organizing. You know, and you see that with Prairie Rose Seminole. We see that with Dallas Goldtooth. We see it with all of our other, Jody Gillette. We see them all really getting out there and doing that groundwork. We have Billy Joe. We have Daniel Tashina Finn in Standing Rock. We have Cesar Alvarez up north in MHA Nation. We have the chairman at Turtle Mountains. You know, I mean, we are really organizing right now. We have some people that are really on the ground doing that work. You know, but it doesn't have to just be, you don't have to be on the ground doing the work either. You could be doing exactly what I'm doing, is calling different organizations, finding what are they doing, how can I get that information spread out. You know, so by sharing it on my page, I think has been really vital for the fact that I notice how many people are viewing my posts. You know, but with it, how it's being made impossible, it was impossible when they first decided, because it was only a month. They only gave a month for these communities of thousands to obtain a physical address that is not even, it wasn't even something that they have ever needed on reservations.
But to your point, all of the nations are getting together now and doing everything they can do to get out the vote, which is why we're here, and we want to record that for people that care about it. And the event that you can hear in the background right now is a powwow, and Mark Ruffalo is there posing with for photos with the kids all dressed up for Halloween, and it's really a great event. So we also have celebrities coming out and doing fabulous things to support us and to draw attention to this whole situation.
Right, and Mark is amazing right now, because I mean, I haven't even got a chance to say hi to him yet, but because he's so busy. But it's amazing because he's going to every nation in North Dakota. You know, tonight he's going to be in Standing Rock. Tomorrow afternoon he's going to be at MHA. Tomorrow night he's going to be in Turtle Mountains. Monday he's going to be at Spirit Lake, and he's touching the whole communities, every community, to kind of really support us to get out that Native vote. And that's so important. And today when they were talking about that, like Prairie Rose, when she was talking about, and Jody talking about, this is really the time to vote. This election, when it comes to your state and your Senate, those are the people that really make the decisions. So we can go ahead and vote for a president, right? But we don't really necessarily get that vote. It's the senators, the Senate, the ones that are in there that take our voices and carry them on. So they don't even have to go by what we decide as popular vote, right? They can decide what they want to. So whoever we're voting in are the ones that are making that decision for us on presidency. Not only that, on any issues like our measures. We have 5 different measures on the ballot right now. And they're all very important, especially number 1. Measure number 1 is important. It's holding our senators, anyone that's lobbying, anyone that's working in this type of work, holding them accountable and knowing how the money is being spent. You know, and that's measure 1. So think about that. Once we get that in, those senators, people that are working in there, are going to figure out, okay, how do we get this together? How do we make it work? Because the people have now voted this in. How do we get that and make it work across the board through all of North Dakota? So this is so important. Who you're voting in is so important, especially for Indian country, because I know a lot of Native people will say, well, that's the state. I don't vote for the state. I only vote for my chairman. I only vote for my council, right?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, but it does, because all of these measures and all of these state laws reflect onto us. And also the funding, they decide our funding. So not our education system, our health system, a lot of those things are what we get on the reservation. They decide that for us. And right now we don't have that seat on the table.
So the bottom line is Natives need to vote every election.
They need to vote every election. It's so important.
I can't thank you enough for taking the time to talk to us today. I really appreciate it. And
yes.
Thank you for all the work that you're doing.
Yes, thank you.
So
thank
much.
you so much for doing this.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.